The clock is set. That means it's time for another episode of 6 Minutes of Witchcraft with me, Laura Tempest Zakroff. So, welcome back, subscribers. Hello, new folks. This week, I'm going to be covering a user or viewer question, as it is, and this is from Lady Lakshmi, and is, what is your opinion of feminist spirituality? I think that's a great question, and I think we need to start first with looking at what is a feminist, without getting out the dictionary, of course, because feminist is a very loaded word. It's somewhat contentious, right? As it should be, I think, because at the root of feminism is equality and justice, not just for women, those identify as women, but for everyone in society, because patriarchal culture is generally not healthy for everyone. When you look at toxic masculinity, right? Look at all these things where men are not supposed to be able to show emotions. We have all these issues about being close to each other. What does it mean if two men hug? You know, all of these things these are unhealthy for everyone. And once you are dismantling these structures, people don't like that. People don't like change. And so going back to the 60s and 70s all the way to now, it is definitely a hot button word, but I have no problems with it. I do consider myself a feminist because I think we do need to dismantle these things that are not helpful for humanity and for the planet as well. And in terms of spirituality, feminist spirituality is basically spirituality of any feminist, which means there's a whole bunch variety in there. But typically, when you see those two words together, people tend to think of the Dianic paths. And I'm going to tell you a little story. So when I was a baby witch, a little witchlet, in my teens, discovering neo-paganism and the goddess, right? I'm like, oh, the goddess. And coming from a Catholic background, you know, these Abrahamic religions where you have this very strong male figure, and then you have, you know, possibly some feminine figures like the Virgin Mary and some saints within Catholicism. You don't have a lot to go with. And so it's a very common reaction to want to dump everything God for the goddess. And I think that's important in finding what is the divine feminine for yourself. But it's not a solution. In walking this path, dumping the God for the goddess, you know, that's not healthy. This is really not about finding a god or a goddess. It's about finding the divine within yourself, right? You are part of the presence in the world, right? Whether you consider yourself an animist, a pantheist, a polytheist, right? If you see God all around you, then God is also within you. So whatever you consider that to be. And also don't like just cutting out the balance, you know, the beautiful diversity that's within the world. And fairly early on, as I was like, oh, no, I only want to focus on the goddess. This here is Pan behind me, recent painting I did. Pan, Cernunnos, many other masculine aspects of the divine have been like, hey, how you doing? And so they've made themselves known in my life. And so pretty early on, the first couple of years of my path, I figured out that it's not, you know, it's not this heteronormative, you know, binary deity that you have your God and goddess and you're all set. There are so many different options, and what those are should be defined by yourself and your own path. But I think it's really important for all of civilization, for humanity, for our spirituality, is to recognize that we are a part of it, and that means finding the divine. In the past, that tend to, if you're saying that there's only a goddess and men are not a part of the spirituality, that men can't be witches, that trans women can't be in your sacred space, that, you know, all these things that are very heavy, that's just chucking out, you know, exchanging one for the other. Okay, one unhealthy system for another unhealthy system. When you start imposing those beliefs on other people, right? You can practice what you want within your own home, within your own circle. You can decide who's going to be in your coven, and those are all your personal parameters. But once you go out into the world and say you're wrong for doing that, and you can't identify like that, and your labels are wrong, and this and that, that's not healthy. So, if your feminist spirituality means finding the divine within yourself, to fight for equality and justice, to break down unhealthy concepts and replace them with more equal, balanced concepts that revel in diversity, and because there is so much amazing variety within the world that it's a shame to just cut it down to one small thing. To me, that's what feminist spirituality is. And the next question next week is going to be from Mermaid Dryad. Sorry about that. Asking about queer and trans in witchcraft, which is going to feed right off of this topic. So I'm very excited to get to that for the next episode. In a nutshell. So that's my take on feminist spirituality. And so thanks, Lady Lakshmi, for putting in that question, and looking forward to tackling that next question. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. You can share this video with your friends as well. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment area and I will get to them. Thanks so much. Bye.